Y&R Spoilers reveal that Audra is planning to manipulate Kyle's mind, her eyes gleaming with an elaborate plan, every step carefully planned. She's not just here to have fun, but also to carry out orders from Victor Newman, a dangerous and risky plan, but no less attractive. Her target is the seemingly unbreakable love story between Kyle Abbott and Claire Grace Newman. An ideal relationship, but also very vulnerable when an outsider sneaks in. Despite knowing that this could hurt the people she once considered friends, Audra can't give up on Victor's orders. He is the one who holds the power, and when he sends her another commanding message, Audra knows there's no going back. Victor's plan is quite simple but sophisticated: break the relationship between Kyle and Claire, making it impossible for them to continue together. As soon as Kyle entered the bar, Audra knew it was time. She saw him alone, calm and radiant as usual, not suspecting that she would soon be caught up in an elaborate plot. Audra smiled slyly, stepped forward and started a conversation. A few drinks later, and Kyle couldn't refuse. He never imagined that a spontaneous decision would lead him to an event that could change his life. After a few drinks, Kyle's mind drifted, the worries of work and family began to fade. Audra had been waiting for this moment, when he was no longer sober and ready to be manipulated. She skillfully pulled him into a private room, where a soft bed had been prepared, as part of a well-thought-out plan. The next morning, as the sunlight streamed into the room, Kyle woke up, feeling heavy in his body, his mind hazy. He looked around and saw Audra lying beside him, unperturbed, as if everything was normal. This confused him even more, because something had clearly happened last night that he didn't remember. Audra quickly told Kyle that they had spent a passionate night together, just an unplanned event. But that wasn't all. Audra had another plan to complete the powerful blow to Kyle's life. Soon, she contacted a close friend in the medical field, arranged to stage a fake pregnancy, all carefully calculated. Audra sent a message to Claire, saying that she had found irrefutable evidence of Kyle's relationship with her. Everything was ready to pour cold water on Kyle and Claire's love, forcing Kyle to face the inevitable consequences. However, things weren't that simple. Kyle soon realized that things weren't right. He felt that there was something very strange about Audra's actions, and he began to doubt her true intentions. His anxiety increased when he received a surprise call from Victor. At this time, Kyle began to understand that he had been deceived in a sophisticated and dangerous way. The big question now was whether Victor really just wanted to destroy Kyle and Claire's love, or was there a bigger conspiracy behind it? It seemed that everything had its reasons. Victor, whom Kyle had always thought of as a trustworthy partner, did not hesitate to urge Kyle to sign the contract without giving his lawyer a chance to review it. This raised even more doubts in Kyle's mind. Why did Victor want him to do this so quickly? Was it because he was afraid that if Kyle received advice from his lawyer or from Jack Abbott, the whole plan would collapse? Kyle begins to realize that he is not only dealing with Audra's personal plot, but also part of a larger game where every move is calculated. The sense of danger becomes more and more evident as he realizes that he has been caught in a web where every move he makes can have unforeseen consequences. One wrong choice could change not only his life, but everything he believes in. Over the next few days, as Kyle begins to investigate on his own, he discovers that Audra and Victor are not only plotting to destroy his relationship with Claire, but are also slowly drawing him into a larger scheme that could push him into a situation he cannot escape. Kyle now faces an unpalatable truth. Can he escape these traps and save his life, or will he continue to be caught in a power game he does not know about? As the stakes rise, Kyle will have to make difficult decisions to protect not only his love for Claire, but also his own honor and future. Dark plots are still afoot, and in this world of power, nothing is certain. In a world full of intrigue and power calculations of wealthy families, Kyle Abbott is an ambitious man, always eager to prove his worth, especially in love with Claire Newman. The feeling of wanting to protect love and maintain Claire's trust is a strong motivation, but what Kyle could not have expected was that he was being drawn into an extremely dangerous game, a game that he could not control at all. Victor Newman, the most powerful man in Genoa City, always has carefully calculated moves, and this time is no exception. With a cold and scheming nature, Victor saw an opportunity in Kyle's eagerness, and as always, he knew how to take advantage of Kyle's inexperience and blind faith to achieve his goals. After a long time of talking and persuading, Victor finally agreed to the terms that Kyle proposed. Although the contract presented looked reasonable and beneficial to Kyle, what he didn't know was that there was a hidden clause in the contract that only a cunning person like Victor could see. This clause could cause Kyle to lose everything, from his career to his love, all because of a hasty and thoughtless decision. Victor gave Kyle the contract without any intervention from Kyle's lawyer. At that moment, with the desire to prove that he was trustworthy in Claire's eyes, Kyle didn't think long and immediately signed the papers. He didn't see the dangerous clauses hidden in the small lines, and he couldn't imagine that such a simple decision could push him into a situation with no way back. With a hasty signature, Kyle has unwittingly accepted a clause that could cost him a huge sum of money, $5 million, and could even force him to leave Genoa City, where he has built his career and his love life. This not only threatens Kyle's personal life, but also leaves him facing an unforeseen fallout. Kyle thought he had it all figured out, that he had the situation under control, but the reality is different. By the time he begins to realize the dangers of signing a contract without proper consultation, it is too late. These hidden clauses are designed to trap him, to give Victor easy control over his life. Kyle could be forced into a situation he cannot escape, a losing battle he cannot avoid. What Kyle does not expect is that Victor is not only evaluating Kyle emotionally, but is also testing his ability to withstand pressure and loyalty. Throughout the negotiations, Victor had one thing in mind. If Kyle couldn't protect Claire, if he hurt her, he would pay dearly. And like a gambler, Kyle had entered the game without understanding the dangerous cards he was holding. One evening, after signing the contract and thinking he had completed his mission, Kyle sat alone in his office, the words on the contract still imprinted in his mind. He wondered if he had done the right thing. But not long after, he received a call from a friend, someone he thought could help him, Jack Abbott, his father. After the conversation, everything suddenly became clear. Jack told Kyle about the hidden terms in the contract, and in that moment, Kyle was enlightened. Anxiety began to rise, but what scared him most was the fact that he had been cleverly deceived. Victor's moves, though seemingly glamorous, are leading him down a path of no return. Not only does it cause Kyle pain, it also creates a void in his heart where his love for Claire could be destroyed by his own carelessness and thoughtlessness. With Jack's help, Kyle begins to investigate Victor's next move. Despite his worries and doubts, Kyle cannot stand still. He knows that if he does nothing, he will lose everything. His career will be ruined, his love for Claire may be destroyed, and the $5 million will be the price of an unforgivable mistake. Under pressure from the terms of the contract, Kyle begins to find ways to disrupt Victor's plans. He is determined not to be manipulated again, but at the same time, he is faced with difficult choices. On one side is family and love, on the other is the rules that Victor has laid out for him. Can Kyle find a way to escape the trap that Victor has set? Can he protect Claire and keep everything he has fought for so long? And most importantly, can the truth behind the terms of the contract help Kyle stand firm in the face of these harsh challenges? All are unanswered questions, and Kyle knows he must fight with all his might to keep what he loves. It all started with a rash decision, one that Kyle Abbott thought would prove worthy of trust, not only by Claire but also by himself. But none of them, including Kyle, could have imagined that his signature would set off a chain of events that would destroy both his career and his family. Especially when the person behind all these moves was Victor Newman, the man Kyle trusted to help him strengthen his position in life, but who was calculatingly manipulating him in ways Kyle could never have imagined. That day, when Kyle signed the contract that Victor presented, he felt relieved, thinking that he had made an important step in his relationship with Claire and with Jabot. But the trap Victor set was not something he could immediately see. It must be, because in the contract Victor urged Kyle to sign, there were hidden clauses that, if exposed, would make things irreparably messy. Kyle had signed the contract without consulting his lawyer, which made things even more complicated. He thought he was trusting Victor, but big questions began to arise in his mind. Was Victor hiding something that only people like him would notice? Kyle had no idea that his haste and lack of caution were putting him in a situation he couldn't get out of. What Kyle didn't expect was that this contract would not only affect his relationship with Claire, but could also cause huge damage to Jabot, the company of which he was co-CEO. Although Kyle had always believed that he had the power to make decisions about the company's transactions, he now began to sense a looming danger from within, not from without. Victor, who always knew how to exploit any weakness, may have urged Kyle to sign this contract not only for personal reasons, but also because of a clause that would give him control over Jabot's major transactions. Kyle, in his eagerness and hope to prove his loyalty to Victor, did not realize that his big boss had created a condition that could cause Kyle to lose control of the very company he was attached to. Kyle's bad decisions, even if they were made with good intentions, could cost Jabot dearly, or even put the company in jeopardy. The situation became more serious when Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins discovered suspicious details about the contract Kyle had signed. Their relationship with Kyle, part family, part business partner, is now being tested like never before. Jack is not only Kyle's father, but also the founder of Jabot, and Diane, a sharp business mind, immediately realizes that something is amiss in this contract. Both are furious at Kyle's haste, and what they are about to face is a truth they never thought possible. Victor may be using Jack's son once again to mess with Jabot. If there is indeed a clause in this contract that gives Victor the upper hand, the consequences will threaten not only Jabot, but also the reputation of the entire Abbott family. Kyle now faces a dilemma. What can he do to fix his mistake before it's too late? Not only will Jack and Diane be angry with Kyle, but they'll also have to figure out how to deal with a cold and calculating Victor who's always looking to put the Abbott family in a difficult position. Kyle will surely regret his decision to sign this contract. As the consequences begin to unfold, he will realize that he is not only facing personal problems but also creating a war between big business forces. In addition, his love for Claire, who he has always wanted to keep close, is now threatened by the decisions he has made in haste. Their relationship could be seriously damaged if the secrets of this contract are discovered. Kyle begins to realize that, to fix things, he will need to face not only Jack and Diane's anger, but also his own, the mistakes he has made for a long time. Meanwhile, Victor is still behind the scenes, ready to observe every move, looking for opportunities to gain complete control over Jabot and the Abbott family. With sharp eyes and ruthless schemes, Victor has cleverly deceived Kyle, and now, it is too late to turn back. There is only one choice for Kyle. Do everything he can to repair the damage he has caused, even if it may cost him dearly. And throughout this process, a big question still echoes in his mind, is what he can do enough to save not only Jabot, but also the love and career he has worked so hard to build? This stressful and turbulent journey will certainly be a great lesson for Kyle, and may change his entire future. Kyle Abbott, who is in the midst of a storm in his personal and professional life, is feeling an invisible pressure from his family and the company. As co-CEO of Jabot, Kyle has been working hard to maintain the Abbott family's reputation and prestige, while also trying to maintain a good relationship with Claire Newman. But when Victor Newman, the most powerful man in Genoa City, appears with an attractive offer, Kyle cannot resist the temptation. Victor offers Kyle a contract with attractive terms, promising to help him strengthen his position, both in work and love. However, Victor does not only want to be Kyle's companion on his journey, but also secretly lures him into an elaborate scheme. When signing the contract, Kyle does not think that he is betting his entire future. In his eagerness to prove himself worthy, he does not consult a lawyer and hastily signs the papers. The danger begins to emerge. As soon as Kyle signs the contract, he begins to sense that something is wrong. However, he cannot immediately realize that Victor has set an elaborate trap. Some of the terms in the contract are hidden, and they only begin to appear when things have gone too far. Kyle, with his power and decision-making power in Jabot, holds the key to many important transactions. If a certain term in the contract related to Jabot is discovered, the consequences will be extremely serious. In particular, there is a hidden clause that Kyle is completely unaware of. While he still believes that he is protecting the company, this clause can cause damage to Jabot. Once it is put into effect, Victor will be able to take advantage of this situation to gain an advantage and manipulate major transactions in the company. Kyle will face a series of troubles that he himself cannot foresee. Victor and his plan. Victor has always been a cunning person, knowing how to see opportunities in every situation. Seeing that Kyle seems to want to prove his trustworthiness, Victor decides to create a situation in which Kyle will have no choice but to sign the contract. He knows that Kyle is facing tension in his relationship with Claire, and if Victor can create a sense of urgency, he will not hesitate to sign anything. What Victor does not expect is that while trying to manipulate Kyle, he also inadvertently creates a dangerous situation for himself, as hidden terms in the contract can cause an inevitable confrontation with the Abbott family. Jack and Diane discover the truth. Shortly after Kyle signs the contract, Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins, who have always played an important role in Kyle's life, begin to have doubts. As the founder of Jabot, Jack can see irregularities in the company's transactions and contracts. Diane, with her sharp eyes and experience, also noticed that something was amiss in the contract terms Kyle had signed. Together they began investigating and quickly discovered that a particular clause in the contract could cause serious damage to Jabot. When Jack and Diane discovered that Kyle had been cleverly deceived by Victor, their anger and frustration were uncontrollable. Jack was not only Kyle's father but also the founder of Jabot, and seeing his son taken advantage of by someone like Victor was heartbreaking. Diane, although not a blood-related member of the Abbott family, also felt a great sense of responsibility for the company she had helped build. Neither could stand idly by as Jabot, the Abbott family's brainchild, was threatened. As the truth comes to light, Kyle begins to feel more stressed than ever. He realizes that he made a grave mistake by signing the contract without careful consideration. Not only is his family and company at stake, but his relationship with Claire could be severely damaged. Kyle feels that he is standing between a rock and a hard place, and if he does not act now, he will lose everything he has fought for. With the support of Jack and Diane, Kyle begins to devise a plan to save the situation. However, the deeper he investigates, the more he realizes that he is not the only one being manipulated by Victor. The terms of the contract could set off a fierce war not only within Jabot, but also within the Abbott family. This forces Kyle to face a difficult choice. He can either try to renegotiate with Victor, or else he must prepare to deal with the serious consequences that may follow. Kyle knows he must act quickly to stop the damage from growing. But as he tries to regain control from Victor, he also has to deal with an increasingly strained relationship with his family. The trust he has built over the years is now being severely tested, and Kyle knows he will have to fight not only to protect the company, but also to retain Claire's love and respect. So can Kyle escape the mess Victor has created and protect everything he holds dear? And can the mistakes of his past become the driving force that helps him grow and find balance in his life? The answers will only be revealed through the important decisions Kyle will have to make in the coming days, as he faces enemies he could not have predicted and challenges he has never faced before.